Max, there's obviously been so much noise this week in the media about your future. I feel like we need to start there. What can you tell us? What's your thinking for the future?
Nothing. I have nothing to add.
Max Verstappen says he's staying at Red Bull, but nobody's buying it. And here's why that silence might mean everything is about to explode. The reigning four-time world champion insists he's not leaving. His words? There's no decision at the moment. I just focus on what I have ahead of me, work with the team. Then, of course, a lot of people make up assumptions, but that's not me. But in Formula One, when a driver starts dancing around direct questions with vague, well-rehearsed answers, the writing's often already on the wall. Verstappen's contract runs until 2028. It should be locked in, untouchable. But in reality, there's a hidden trap door built into that deal, a get-out clause that he can activate within weeks. And guess who's standing right outside that door? Mercedes. Toto Wolff has been circling for months, quietly watching as Red Bull's dominance begins to crumble. The new regulations in 2026 are the perfect storm, a reset button on the grid. And Mercedes, according to insiders and performance projections, are poised to have the most powerful engine once those rules kick in. Meanwhile, Red Bull, they're scrambling. Early feedback on their 2026 power unit has not been reassuring. Engineers behind closed doors are reportedly unsure if they can match the development pace of Ferrari, let alone Mercedes. Verstappen's own camp doesn't believe Red Bull will be capable of making a big step next season, and that internal doubt is now spilling into the public spotlight. And yet, Verstappen continues to walk a tightrope. When asked about his contract, his response is calculated. "I'm not speaking about my contract, to be honest. It's easier like that. No denial, no loyalty pledge, just strategic silence." And when asked whether his management has spoken to Mercedes,
I have nothing to add.
this isn't just classic media deflection. This is a pressure cooker, and it's about to blow. Behind the scenes, Mercedes are keeping the runway clear. Neither George Russell nor Kimi Antonelli have signed contracts for 2026. Both are out of contract by the end of 2025. That flexibility is no accident. Wolff is keeping his options open, and Verstappen is very much the option. George Russell has publicly said he believes he'd be Verstappen's teammate if Max joined the Silver Arrows. But that's a statement loaded with tension, because these two don't exactly get along. Their rivalry has quietly grown into one of the most underrated feuds on the grid. At the 2024 Qatar Grand Prix, Verstappen accused Russell of going to the stewards on purpose after a blocking incident. It was personal. Heated words were exchanged, and it didn't stop there. At the traditional driver's dinner in Abu Dhabi later that year, Russell reportedly refused to sit near Verstappen. By the time 2025 rolled around, the tension exploded again. During the Spanish Grand Prix, Verstappen was ordered to give a position back to Russell after overtaking off-track. Instead, he drove straight into him. It was more than just a racing incident. It was a message. Even Mercedes insiders have raised eyebrows. Some are warning of mayhem if Verstappen joins the team with Russell still in place. The idea of having two alpha drivers with unfinished business sharing one garage is terrifying for strategy, for team morale, for titles. Still, when Verstappen was asked about his relationship with Russell, he played it cool. "We get on all right," he said. "We have our moments on the track, but it's all good. We speak. We just leave that behind. At least from my side. You just continue racing. I'm not someone who holds a grudge." But Formula One history has a way of repeating itself. Hamilton and Rosberg said the same thing once, until they didn't. Right now, Verstappen is third in the championship. That's dangerously close to the trigger point for his rumored exit clause. A few more bad weekends, a surprise podium from Russell or Leclerc, and that clause might spring open. If it does, Red Bull will have no legal grounds to stop him, and they know it. That's why the team is now operating in full damage control mode. Publicly, they insist everything's fine, but behind the scenes, the panic is real. The 2026 power unit is still in development limbo. Their 2025 car, meant to be a stepping stone, is under-delivering. McLaren and Mercedes are closing in. The aura of invincibility is cracking, and just when they need unity, Verstappen is talking about GT racing. Yes, GT racing. The world champion, in the middle of a high-stakes contract drama, is openly admitting he's preparing for life beyond Formula One. "I'll try to always in the future combine it with any kind of other racing that is possible," he said. "But I can prepare for it, because I do want to explore a bit other than Formula One, which, of course, I'm already doing with testing, but eventually also racing. That doesn't sound like a man locked into a 5-year plan. That sounds like a man quietly setting his own timeline, one Red Bull might not be ready for. Toto Wolff, on the other hand, is staying suspiciously quiet. There's no desperate pursuit, no public love letters, just calm confidence. Mercedes' 2026 project is advancing behind closed doors. Their new facility in Brackley is working overtime, and there are whispers that their simulations are yielding jaw-dropping results. The new engine package, allegedly lighter, more efficient, and aero-optimized, could bring them back to the top of the food chain. And Verstappen knows it. Even Mercedes' livery for the British Grand Prix added fuel to the fire. The W16 will sport orange stars, a design choice that fans immediately connected to Verstappen's famous Dutch Orange Army. Coincidence? Maybe, but in F1, coincidences rarely happen without a reason. And there's more. Wolff has reportedly told his inner circle that while he's happy with the Russell-Antonelli lineup on paper, he would never close the door on Verstappen. Not in 2026, not in 2027, not ever. He knows what a signing like that could do. Sponsors, fans, championships, the entire landscape shifts. But what about Verstappen? Is he really leaving? Publicly, he says no. He claims he's ending his career with Red Bull, but the tone, the body language, and the timing don't lie. His repeated statements that nothing has changed are starting to sound like a man trying to convince himself. Because if nothing had changed, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be analyzing every quote. We wouldn't be waiting for a clause to activate. We wouldn't be asking how Russell and Verstappen could possibly coexist. And Mercedes wouldn't be holding off on signing 2 of their own drivers just to keep a seat warm. This isn't just speculation. It's a storm quietly gathering force, and Red Bull knows they can't stop it if Verstappen decides to walk. The next few weeks are crucial. Summer break is around the corner. The standings are tight, and if Verstappen slips outside the top 3, the contract trapdoor opens. No drama, no lawyers, just an exit, fully legal and irreversible. And if that happens, Red Bull loses not just their star driver, but their identity. The Verstappen era ends, and Mercedes, they get the golden ticket. The panic at Red Bull isn't about what's happening today, it's about what's coming. A storm built on silence, pressure, and opportunity. Verstappen hasn't confirmed anything, but in Formula One, silence is rarely innocent. So when Max says, "I'm not someone who holds a grudge," remember that line. Because the next grudge might not be with Russell. It might be with the team that failed to stay on top, just long enough for the sport's most dominant driver to start looking elsewhere. And when that happens, don't be surprised. The signs were always there. You just had to listen between the lines. And here's the wild card nobody's talking about. Max Verstappen isn't the type to bluff. When he moves, it's deliberate. When he speaks, it's filtered. But when he refuses to speak, that's when you know something's real. Remember, this isn't just about contracts or lap times, it's about legacy. Verstappen has nothing left to prove at Red Bull. He's already broken records, won multiple championships, and dismantled the competition. But greatness in F1 is also about timing, knowing when to walk away before the empire crumbles beneath you. If Red Bull's development stalls, if 2026 comes, and Mercedes hit the ground running, if Antonelli doesn't quite mature fast enough, Verstappen stepping into silver could become the most ruthless yet calculated move in modern Formula One. Red Bull are already on edge. Horner's comments are vague. Helmut Marko has gone quiet. And Verstappen? He's talking about GT racing and keeping things open, like he's preparing a soft landing in case the ship sinks faster than expected. The silence, the positioning, the contract gap at Mercedes. It's all starting to look less like a coincidence and more like a blueprint. The storm hasn't hit yet, but you can hear the wind picking up. And when Verstappen makes his move, if he does, it won't be a whisper, it'll be a shockwave. So the question isn't if Red Bull are in panic mode, it's how long they can hide it. Now tell me what you think. Is Verstappen already planning his Red Bull exit? Could we see him in silver before 2028? Or is this all just noise and misdirection? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to stay ahead of the biggest moves in Formula One before they break the headlines, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the next twist in this story could drop any day now.